Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the beginning of the week technical analysis. I'm your main man, Mr. Levels, aka Pills, aka Hop, aka It's Up There. You know. Before I jump into it, as always, let me give a quick disclaimer. This is in no way financial advice. Everything that I share throughout this analysis is for educational purposes only and is solely my opinion. I repeat, this is in no way financial advice. Any and everything that I share throughout the entirety of this analysis is for educational purposes only. Cool beans, cool beans. So, how's everybody doing? I know it's been a while since I've came and given you guys analysis, but I've pretty much been waiting on my last analysis to play out. So if you go back to the YouTube channel and you go back to my last weekly analysis, you will see that around the beginning of November, right? I was telling you guys that I wanted to see if price respected this like purple shaded area right here, right? I told you guys that I wanted to see how price reacted to that area, right? And what I said was that if we find support around that area, around that structure or that fair value gap, because that's what it is. It's a daily fair value gap, right? And if you see right below that fair value gap, we have monthly PD array levels, right? So I told you guys around the 1st of November, we were right here, literally on this candle right here. This is the 1st of November daily candle. I told you guys we wanted to see how price reacted to this area. And if we were unable to break and close below these monthly PD array levels, right? Mainly this um shaded purple area, right? But I also told you that I would allow for price to dip down into those PD arrays a little bit. So technically we didn't want to see, or I didn't want to see price break and close back below these monthly PD arrays, right? So that that was on Friday, right? I think I told you guys maybe that next Monday in my beginning of the week analysis, but you can refer to the YouTube channel. It's all there, right? So when the trading week for the first week of November opened, we see that we had Monday and Tuesday were bearish days, right? Price pulled back down into that area that I told you guys to pay attention to, right? Tuesday price dipped down about to the midway point of these monthly PD arrays, right? We know we call that what? Consequent encroachment, right? And the dollar just flew to the upside from that point forward, right? And I told you guys that if we did find support around those areas, go back and watch the video. I said that this would be the run on liquidity right here. This big pool of liquidity that we see with these fairly equal highs that we have here, right? And I told you guys that would be a point of interest um right here, first point of interest, right? Then I told you this would be second, of course, and then I told you final point of interest would be up into this red shaded area, right? Which is a either a weekly or a monthly fair value gap, right? And so we spent all of November basically watching that play out, right? It took us 17 days to watch that play out, right? So almost 3 weeks. And then we see once price reached up into that um point of interest or that area of interest, price gradually started to break down. What do we see right here for the dollar? Right? We see a smart money reversal, right? We see a high made right here. we see a low made right here. We see a higher high made right here. And then we see a lower low made right here. Um that is your smart money reversal sign. So we don't want to see price break back above this placement right here, right? We don't want to see price break back above the last high or this displacement right here, this breakdown, right? So what I'm expecting to see out of the dollar going forward, right? I'm expecting to see the dollar start to sell off from here, right? And I will be watching to see if I'm gonna go down to the 4 hour time frame. I'm gonna see the price gonna come out and take out these 4 hour highs right here, this double top or equal highs as we like to call them, right? But ultimately, I don't want to see the dollar get back above this high right here, right? So I'm gonna be looking for maybe a run up and then price to start breaking down. So I'm gonna put a little something right here, right? Put a X marks the spot, and we'll see how that plays out. Okay, cool beans. So let me go back to the daily. So that's what I'm expecting out of the dollar, or DXY, or as we like to call it, Dixie. Yeah, that's what I'm expecting out of Dixie this week. So I would like to see bearish price action out of the dollar market this week. Um, and we'll see how that plays out. Price could very well just keep running higher. And then I have to reevaluate and reanalyze and give you guys an update. Cool beans? Cool beans. So with that being said, let's move on to the currency pairs that we look at in my group, which is EU, GU, and NU. So we're gonna start out with EU as always. And just like with the dollar, I told you guys with EU around the 1st of November, we was up in this area. I told you guys that this was an area of interest for EU. And I told you that this was the overall level of interest on what I wanted to see EU end up at, right? Was running the yearly low or the previous year's low, right? From October of 2023. Go back and watch the tape. I told you that. So, I also measured this move for you guys, letting you know that that move would be over a 450 pip move, right? And it took us 17 days, about 17 days to get that, right? As with the same with the dollar, exactly 17 days, right? So these moves, and so you guys may be wondering, like, why don't he do the calls every week like he's supposed to do? I only do that when we have new people in the group, right? Newcomers in the group who need their hands held, just coming into this thing, just learning. But for the guys who's already been here for 2, 3 years, you don't need a daily or every other day analysis because as you can see, it takes these analysis sometimes 2, 3, or maybe even a month to play out. So there's no need of me to keep going over the same information, sounding like a broken record, right? So that's why I mainly just give you guys updates in the Telegram if I see that an update is needed. But that should explain why and answer your question for the one guy who hit me up on YouTube, um, asking about why don't I do the classes every other day anymore. That's your question. I mean, that's your answer because it just becomes redundant and really a waste of my time um repeating the same thing over and over and over, right? So back to EU, as you can see, this took 17 days to play out, almost 3 weeks to play out, but it did play out according to my analysis. We made the run on the pool of liquidity here, right? These fairly equal lows or fairly even lows, however you want to state it. And we eventually ran all the way down to the previous year's low. Exactly what I wanted to see. Cool beans? Cool beans. And basically that goes across the board for our forex pairs, right? Currency. Um, I told you guys that I wanted to see GU run this pool of liquidity, and we got that. And that was a big move too, over 400 pips. So yeah, great move for EU. I mean GU, sorry. Great move for EU and GU. And same thing with NU. As I said, I told you guys that I wanted to see NU run this pool of liquidity here at these fairly equal lows. And as you can see, we got that run as well. I don't think that was as many pips as EU and GU, but it still ran for over 200 pips. So half of what half of what GU and EU did, right? And we all know NU isn't as volatile as GU, no way. Um, but it usually tries to keep up with EU, but EU has been very volatile for a while now. So it's been giving us big price action moves, and I know all you forex traders out there, I know y'all aren't mad at that. So congratulations on that. If you caught the forex pairs, um if you caught this move down off our forex pairs, then congratulations to you. So moving on to futures. Um Looking at ES, right? I told you guys that if we broke, well, going back to November the 1st, right? Told you guys that if we respected these monthly PD arrays, that I expected us to run this high, right? And continue to make new all-time highs. And that's what we did. We ran this high because that was the all-time high at that time. We ran that high. We price pull back down into this move up, to this displacement to the upside, to this imbalance to the upside. Price pull back down into that perfectly, and then we continue high to make another new all-time high, right? What I'm expecting now, as I told you on the last call, right? I told you that futures and the dollar usually inversely correlate, meaning they move in the opposite direction. Futures usually move with currencies, but they also sometimes futures also sometimes correlate with the dollar in a positive manner, meaning that they move in the same direction with the dollar. And that's just what futures have been doing for the month of November. If you look at the dollar for the month of November, I take you here now, right? We see that from the month of November, I just showed you, the month of November was mostly bullish, right? These since last week, we seen price starting to break down a little bit. But for the first 3 weeks, for the main part, the dollar was bullish, right? Right. So we're looking at November from the beginning of the month. We see that ES futures has been bullish as well. So what is that obviously showing us? That's showing us that these pairs um has been correlating, moving in a positive way, moving in the same direction together for the month of November. That's obvious. You can look at the chart and see that with your own two eyes, right? So, are are they going to continue to correlate in a positive way, or are they are they going to inverse and start correlating in an inverse way, in a negative way, meaning moving in the opposite direction of one another? The only way to find out is to read price action. So, with that being said, this is what I'm looking for out of futures. If futures do indeed to continue to correlate with the dollar in a positive way, moving with the dollar in the same direction of the dollar, then I will expect futures to start selling off, of course, right? And I will look for futures not to break back above this fair value gap that I have shaded in blue right here. So I don't want to see price break and close back above the upper level, which is right here where my mouse is at, of this fair value gap. I don't want to see price break and close above that, right? In order for me to be bearish for futures, right? If price does break and close above that, right, and the dollar is continuing to go lower, but futures going higher, then that's when we can say that, okay, the correlation is switching to a negative correlation now, inverse correlation, meaning moving in the opposite direction of each other. But you have to wait for price to show you that. You can't just jump the gun because you feel that or you think that. That's not how um, um, technical analysis work and these financial markets work, right? So if we don't break back above the fair value gap, right? I expect us to continue to sell off. And that's regardless of what the dollar does, whether the dollar goes higher or lower. I base that's basically my point that I'm trying to tell you guys. The hell with correlations. Like the correlations is just like any other indicator. It's just that, an indicator. It's nothing 100% in stone with an indicator or these markets. These markets can do anything they want to do at any given time, and you have to be ready to adjust to that change. So I read price action. I allow price action to talk to me and show me and tell me what it is that it wants to do, in regardless of any indicator that you can think of. Understood? Cool beans? Cool beans. So basically for futures, for ES, um, if we break above this fair value gap, then I expect us to run these highs. If we cannot break back above this fair value gap, I expect us to run this low and reach back down into this blue shaded area. Simple as that. Cool beans? Cool beans. And last but not least, well, not last, because I'm gonna look at some crypto too. But NQ, same thing with NQ. I expect us to um sell off. I don't NQ doesn't have the same fair value gap that ES has, right? So I'm gonna go down to the 4 hour, see if it has it on the 4 hour. Yeah, it has it right here. So you have to do that sometimes, right? But it's basically the same premise. If NQ cannot break back above this fair value gap and close back above the upper level of that fair value gap, then I expect NQ to continue to run lower, running into this fair value gap that we see here, right? Beautiful fair value gap. Well, this fair value gap first, right? Because it's first in line, right? So I expect us to run this low and run down in here and then see how price reacts to this fair value gap. And notice that that fair value gap is sitting on top of this monthly buy side liquidity that price just broke through last week. So, yeah, let's see how that plays out. And again, if we do break and close above this fair value gap, then I expect us to run this previous high that we see here from last week. Or, oh no, that's from today. I'm sorry. This high from today. Yep. This candle is from last week. This candle is from today. So the high from today, if price breaks and close above this, what is now an inverse fair value gap, right? And we all know inverse fair value gaps are very powerful. So if price is powerful enough to break above a 4 hour inverse fair value gap, then there's a strong indication that it's going to run this high. And you shouldn't be, you know, trying to short this all of this bullishness, right? That would be you trying to call a top. And we know that we do not try to call tops and we do not try to call bottoms because that's how you get your head busted and end up in the poorhouse. So that being said, that's my analysis for futures. Um, we have to wait and see what price action gives us. And once price action shows its hand, that's when you set up and wait for the right time and what price and execute your trade. So, with that being said, I just want to take a look at Bitcoin right quick. Here we go. So, I told you guys that if price respected this area right here for Bitcoin, that we was gonna fly to the upside, hit 100,000 and continue to go higher. I already have it mapped out for you guys how high I think Bitcoin is gonna go this cycle, right? And that's up to 418,000. Um, I'm sorry, 418,000. Yeah, so like no, 481,915. Right? That is that's the maximum bull case for this cycle. That's the absolute highest I could see Bitcoin getting to, right? Uh, More realistically, just from my personal point of view, I say we'll see Bitcoin probably get about 250, 300,000 peak cycle for this bull cycle. At the peak of this cycle, 250 to 300,000, right? So as we can see, Bitcoin has already started to make its way towards those numbers, right? We've already hit well above 100,000 and we're just going to keep pumping to the upside. We're in the thick of it now, ladies and gentlemen. Like we are in the bull market. And this next 18 months is going to be a chance for people around the world to take advantage of um, tremendous opportunity out here in these crypto and financial markets. Point blank, period. So, with that being said, let's look at my pick of the cycle, which we all know is Dogcoin, um, dog of Bitcoin, right? And as we can see, price just recently today broke the all-time high from June of this year, right? So as soon as we rant that, of course, we're going to see price break away. I mean, pull back off of that level because that's a very big psychological level, right? So you got people taking profits, right? Because you got people that bought in here, right? And they've been holding through all this for the last 6 months. They've been holding. One, two, three, four, five, six. They've been holding, right? So a lot of them was in drawdown in negative. So they just seen their accounts get back to even. What you think they did? They closed the account, because they was just happy to be back at break even. And they probably lost faith. I don't know how. This is a healthy sign. This is what you want to see. You want to see the market cap lose about 80 or 90% of its all-time high. What does my mentor Michael Huddleston say? What's the sweet spot for discount price? A 70 to 80 a 70 I'm sorry, a 62 to 79% pullback. So basically around a 60 to 80% pullback, right? That's the sweet spot. I say I look for a good 80 to 90% pullback. That's the very, very, very best discount that you're ever gonna get. Ever gonna get. And if you look at this move with Dogecoin, right, from the time it launched to its high and to its all-time from the time it launched to its all-time high and to its all-time low. If you look at that pullback that it performed, what did it perform? What kind of pullback did it perform? Well, you see the Fibonacci measurements right here. This is 79% right here, this red line. So we see it pulled down. This would be 100% right here, right? So we can see it pulled down 90%, right? This is where I was buying it. I was dollar cost all the way down. These 3 months right here down, I was dollar cost averaging in. So all of these blue levels that you see on my chart, well, these is my new blue levels for when price come back down again, where I will buy it. But I had levels at these lows, this high, right? And every when we got here at this low, when we was here and price came back down into here, I bought more, right? When price came, rent that low, I fucking racked up. That was my 90% pullback. I went all in right here. So I'm well in profit now, and I haven't sold a dime of my dog coin because dog coin is um the people's Bitcoin. There's a quote going around now, and a guy named um I can't think of his name right now. It'll come back to me. But he has a quote on in his bio, on his X bio, that says, I couldn't afford Bitcoin, so I bought its dog, right? Because dog is the meme coin of Bitcoin. I mean, it's a Bitcoin meme coin, right? It is the meme coin of Bitcoin. It's the largest meme coin by market cap. It's the largest meme coin by community. It's the largest meme coin by mind share. It's the largest meme coin by engagement. It's the largest meme coin on the Bitcoin blockchain. And it's literally a time machine giving you the opportunity to go back in time and buy Bitcoin when Bitcoin was worth less than a penny. And I don't know how to make it any more clear than that. Dog of Bitcoin is 100% decentralized, 100% circulating supply, 100% um 100% organic. I'm sorry, lost my train of thought for a second. 100% organic. There is no team. There's no team allocation. There's no paid KOLs. If you don't know what a KOL is, go and Google KOL pertaining to the crypto space or whatever, and you will learn about KOLs. It's a key operating um uh yeah, you'll see it. Go check them out. KOL, key operating person of interest or something like that. Basically you pay them and they help your project gain exposure. Kind of like an influencer where um there's no paid influencers. There's no we didn't pay, dog did not pay to get listed on any exchange. Listen, man, I don't know. I don't think people realize how monumental that is. This has never been done in the history of crypto, in the history of meme coin, other than Bitcoin. No other coin has ever got tier one listing without paying listing fees. This is what makes the ethos of dog so extraordinary, so unique, so one of a kind, so magnificent, so magical, because it does not have any other ingredients that make up a rug pull. As a matter of fact, all of the ingredients that make up a rug pull, um, dog corn is immune to. It has none of those ingredients. Like I said, 100% decentralized, 100% circulating supply, no team allocation, no paid KOLs, no paid market makers, no paid listing fees. Um, and the community has a Bitcoin ethos, has a HODL ethos. Most of the community said they're going to be holding this until they die, and they're looking to pass this on to their kids because they see and recognize Dogecoin as a community coin, and they have the intelligence to understand that any market is made up by the people in that market, in the mindset and the ethos of the people in that market is what develops the long-standing longevity and the sustainability of a market, right? And if the ethos of a market is to hodl until you die and to pass that wealth on to your offspring, then that market is going to exist forever. And dog is going to exist forever. We're not fucking leaving. We're not fucking going. Dog is gonna do some. Dog is doing things that's never been done in the crypto industry. We're going to continue to break down new walls, travel new frontiers, and innovate new wild and fun and life world changing innovations into the crypto industry and to the world. So with that being said, I've never had as much conviction for a project or a coin other than Bitcoin than I have for Dogecoin. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will conclude the beginning of the week technical analysis. I pray that this analysis added some kind of value to you guys' life. If it did, please feel free to like, share, and most of all, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really helps out a lot. So, with that being said, good people, as always, please, 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 please let your family and friends know you love them while they still here. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, peace and love, everybody. You know.